Have you ever felt as if you were living in a whirlwind? Overwhelming work, complicated relationships, cluttered belongings, and even a restless mind. You try to make plans, try to change habits, yet with just one small incident, all order collapses, as if it had never existed. Why is that? Because chaos does not only lie on your desk or in a cramped room, but deep in your mind and unconscious. What exhausts you is not the unfinished tasks, but the conflict between the outside and the inside, between the false self and the true self. Carl Jung believed that for life to have real order, one cannot merely arrange the surface. We must compel ourselves to enter a deeper journey where order becomes the natural rhythm of wholeness. In today's video, we will explore step by step the journey of forcing yourself to arrange your life through the lens of Carl Jung. These are not short-term tips for coping, but a map leading you from chaos to order, from confusion to unity with yourself. So your life will no longer just react to circumstances, but become a directed flow, full of strength and meaning. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Number 1. Recognizing chaos when we live in the unconscious. Surely there have been days when, in the middle of a busy day, you suddenly look around and ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I truly living, or just being swept away? That is the rare moment when the fog of the unconscious lifts, revealing the truth that most of the time we are not truly living, but simply reacting to preset scripts. We wake up to the alarm, go to work out of duty, converse by formula, feel sadness, joy, anger according to buttons others press. Life flows entirely in automatic mode, like a machine pre-programmed. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is the harsh truth many people do not want to face. We often think we have choices, but in reality, the unconscious, with its wounds, memories, and buried beliefs, quietly arranges every reaction. Without recognizing it, life drifts endlessly in chaos that we mistake for fate. Chaos is not always noisy. Sometimes it hides in daily normalcy. You feel uneasy when someone does not reply to your message, jealous when a colleague is praised, or exhausted, but throws yourself into shopping and scrolling online as if to fill an invisible void. Behind each of those actions is the unconscious speaking, but we do not hear it. Inner chaos is the state of being controlled by the unconscious without knowing it. It makes us repeat old patterns, loving the wrong person, choosing the wrong job, sabotaging our happiness, then lamenting, "It's fate." But in fact, it is not fate. It is the unrecognized unconscious. I once knew a man, successful in his career, with a stable income. Yet every time he began a relationship, after just a few months, he would fall into the same cycle: suspicion, control, quarrels, and breakup. He often lamented, "Maybe I'm just not meant to be with anyone." But when he encountered Jungian psychoanalysis, he realized, as a child, he had witnessed his parents constantly quarreling and divorcing. The fear of abandonment buried in his unconscious made him always vigilant and controlling. us to arrange life in order to become rigidly neat people. He reminded us that true order comes from within, when we dare to face chaos and name it. This recognition brings three important meanings: freedom from false fate, reducing unconscious repetition, and laying the foundation for order. Only when we know where we are, where chaos lies, can we lay bricks for an ordered life. Recognizing chaos is only the beginning. When the light has been switched on, we will clearly see the dark corners of the soul, where the shadow hides. And it is precisely then that the real challenge begins, daring to face the shadow instead of continuing to deny it. Number 2, facing the shadow. In the journey of forcing yourself to arrange life, there is a territory difficult to reach yet most crucial: the shadow. Jung called it the shadow, the dark part of the psyche, where we hide what we do not want to face. That darkness is the denied aspects, suppressed emotions, unacknowledged desires, even hidden potential. When buried, they do not disappear but still dominate, plunging life into hidden chaos. Therefore, arranging life is also the courageous act of bringing light to the darkness. Many think the shadow consists only of anger, selfishness, envy. But according to Jung, it is everything we refuse to admit as ours. A person who is always cheerful may hide loneliness. A person praised as caring may suppress anger at being taken advantage of. A successful person may bury fear of failure. The shadow is the part unpleasant to the image we build, and the more we deny it, the stronger it becomes. Sometimes we lose control and get angry over small things, or overreact to someone without knowing why. That is often the shadow speaking, reminding us that inside there is a part forgotten, demanding recognition. If not arranged, the shadow drags us into spirals: irrational anger, blind jealousy, toxic relationships, or impulsive decisions we regret. I remember a woman in her 30s, outwardly gentle and praised as a good listener. Yet in love, she lived in anxiety, often checking her partner's phone, losing sleep from obsession with betrayal. Deep inside was the fear of abandonment she dared not face. By denying that vulnerability, she let it secretly dominate, causing her love to collapse again and again. Only when she had the courage to admit, "I also have a shadow, I am also vulnerable," did she learn to love more freely, no longer controlling her partner. Jung emphasized, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." We cannot arrange life merely with glamorous goals. To have true order, we must look into the dark corners within. Facing the shadow is not easy. It is like opening a room locked for years, full of old, dusty items. When the door opens, the mess makes us want to shut it immediately. But if not cleaned, that room still exists. The shadow is the same. The more we avoid it, the tighter it clings. Forcing yourself to arrange life means forcing yourself to step into that room, admit the mess, and start cleaning bit by bit. A practical way to work with the shadow is to observe projection. When we dislike someone for no clear reason, often what we hate in them is what we deny in ourselves. A person proud of independence may resent someone dependent because deep down they fear needing support too. A person valuing honesty may loathe a liar because they too once lied to protect themselves. Observing projection helps us recognize the shadow. Instead of criticizing others, we ask, "Is this the part of me I have not dared to face?" Arranging the shadow does not mean eliminating it. On the contrary, the darkness is part of wholeness. In it lies creative energy, intuition, and strength we once buried. A person who suppresses anger can transform it into strength to set boundaries. A person denying fear can use sensitivity to understand others. Facing the shadow is not just tidying, but also discovering forgotten treasures. So, how to practice? Jung suggested keeping a journal to listen to the unconscious voice, analyzing dreams to understand symbols, participating in therapy as a mirror, or simply admitting your true emotions in daily situations. Each time we pause and say, "I am angry, I am scared, I am jealous," instead of hiding, is a step forward in arranging the shadow. If a person spends their whole life avoiding the shadow, they live in contradiction, outwardly bright, but inwardly suffocated. But if they dare to face it, little by little, they will gradually become unified. Then arrangement is no longer just time or work management, but the establishment of a deep spiritual order. When light touches darkness, chaos is dissolved. And at that moment, life begins to have true order. If you have ever recognized the shadow in yourself, a fear, a habit, or a denied emotion, share that story in the comments. Because sometimes, just by speaking out, we begin the journey of bringing light into the dark. And who knows, your story may become the mirror giving someone else the courage to face their own shadow. Though the shadow is difficult to face, it is not the only disguise. This is my persona, not the whole of me. We take an important step toward freedom. In therapy, a woman in her 40s shared that everyone called her the perfect mother. A tidy home, warm meals, well cared for children, nothing lacking for her husband. Yet, when the door closed, she often sat alone in the kitchen, exhausted to the point of not wanting to speak. Deep down, she longed for rest, for an afternoon for herself, but fear of criticism held her back. When sharing, her voice choked. "I don't know who I really am beyond this role." At that moment, the truth appeared. The persona of perfect mother had become a prison, and she was the weary prisoner inside. Jung once wrote, "Persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself and others think one is." Recognizing this is the first step in rearranging life. A crucial question to ask: am I doing this because I truly want to, or just to maintain the image? Answering honestly, we realize many things we shoulder are only to maintain persona. We agree to attend parties we dislike. We post perfect pictures online to keep a positive image. We take on more work to avoid seeming incompetent. Over time, these pile up, making the soul chaotic, because the true self is hidden. Removing the mask does not mean opposing society or abandoning responsibility. It simply means daring to allow yourself to be real. To say, "I'm tired," when tired. To say, "I'm sad," when sad. To fail without shame. When we allow ourselves to live authentically, we can arrange life on a solid foundation, not a false one. One way to practice is to observe when we are playing a role. When talking to someone, ask, "Am I expressing what I truly feel? Or am I just trying to make them like me?" When posting a photo, ask, "Am I posting to share joy or to be praised?" Just being honest with ourselves in small moments is already starting to remove the mask. Remember, persona is only a tool for communication, not identity. When we know how to remove it, we can truly arrange life, reducing invisible burdens, reducing conflict, and opening space for the true self to breathe. Ultimately, forcing yourself to arrange life means daring to peel away layers of masks, accepting we do not need to be perfect to be loved. Only honesty with the self helps us find deep order, the order of a unified being, no longer divided between inside and outside. Number 4. Inner discipline, order as the foundation of freedom. On the journey to rearrange life, one essential element is often overlooked: inner discipline. Carl Jung emphasized that true freedom is not doing whatever you want, but the ability to master yourself so as not to be controlled by instincts, emotions, or unconscious habits. People often misunderstand discipline as bondage, but in truth, it is the foundation of freedom. Inner discipline is like tidying the room of the mind, the ability to pause before reacting, to manage time, to keep thoughts, words, actions aligned. It does not make us rigid, but opens energy to live wisely. In fact, discipline is a form of mental arrangement, each emotion placed properly, each action considered for a greater goal. A woman I once met in a sharing session said she always felt exhausted. She had a stable job, cared for her family, but her personal life was chaotic. When stressed, she shopped to fill emptiness. When sad, she stayed up late watching movies, then dragged herself to work drained. The more she indulged emotions, the more she lost control. Only after joining a training course did she realize freedom is not indulging every desire, but pausing to choose reactions. She began a small habit. Before placing an online order, she sat down, breathed deeply, and asked, "Will this truly make me better?" At first, the pause lasted just seconds, but that small pause changed her life. Less impulsive shopping, earlier sleep, more energy for work and family. That was her first step toward true order. Imagine inner discipline as a river. If allowed to flow wildly, the river can overflow, sweeping away villages, destroying fields. But with firm embankments, the water becomes life-giving, nourishing crops, bringing fertility. Human emotions and instincts are the same. If left unchecked, they drown us in chaos. But when bounded by discipline, That energy transforms into creative power, the power to love, to build, to live true to the self. Modern science also affirms the value of discipline. Roy Baumeister's research on self-control shows that people who train the ability to regulate behavior and delay instant reactions for long-term goals are happier, have more stable relationships, and succeed more. Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex controls conscious behavior. When we train discipline, we strengthen this brain area, helping it restrain unconscious urges. That means discipline is not only a mental principle, but a practical skill we can train. With discipline, we learn to say no to distractions, devote time to what matters, and manage emotions instead of being pulled into regret. And within that control, we find true freedom. Take a small moment to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the stillness within. If these reflections resonate with you, leave just one word in the comments. Discipline. It will be not only a reminder for yourself, but also an inspiring message for someone else on their journey to balance and freedom. Number 5. Setting priorities and letting go. After learning to build inner discipline so as not to be swept away by emotions or habits, the next step in forcing yourself to arrange life is learning the art of prioritizing and letting go. Because order is not only created by adding the right things, but also by eliminating what is unnecessary. Life is finite, yet we often fill it with countless excesses, relationships no longer suitable, habits that have decayed, possessions piled up with no value, or outdated beliefs still binding us. The truth is, it is not that we lack time, but that we lack the courage to choose. In literature, the figure of Prince Siddhartha in Hermann Hesse's Siddhartha is a powerful example. Born into luxury, he left everything to seek enlightenment. His letting go was not denial of the world, but prioritizing, choosing the journey back to essence over forever living in a golden cage. By abandoning what was superfluous, Siddhartha opened space for clarity and peace to enter. That is also a profound lesson for us. If we cling to everything, we leave no room to live true to ourselves. In simplicity, a new richness sometimes arises, a richness of spirit, ease, and freedom. In real life, I once met a woman in her 30s, successful and capable. Yet behind the busyness and packed schedule, she often fell into exhaustion. Each day, she received countless invitations, parties, collaborations, social connections. She feared saying no, worried about losing opportunities or upsetting others, so she strained to carry it all. Until one day, hospitalized for exhaustion, she realized she needed to reorganize. In therapy, she learned to write down 3 true priorities each month and to straightforwardly decline unnecessary invitations. From then on, her life changed. Fewer social friends, but closer family ties. Fewer side jobs, but more focus on passionate projects. By daring to let go, she created space to hold what mattered. More importantly, she felt she no longer had to live 2 lives. One to please others, one to endure silently, but could return to unity. Carl Jung once said the ego often loses its way by identifying with what is external. Prioritizing and letting go is pulling oneself back to the self, the true essence. It is not selfishness, but honesty. We cannot please everyone, cannot hold everything, cannot run every path. Arrangement requires courage to ask, does this still serve my growth? If the answer is no, then letting go is loving discipline. Letting go does not mean loss, but making room for what fits better. Like tidying a wardrobe, when you discard old clothes, you make space for new ones, and more importantly, you no longer feel suffocated by clutter. In spiritual life too, letting go of toxic relationships, draining habits, old beliefs opens space for joy, creativity, and peace to enter. An empty space, instead of frightening, can be fertile ground for new beginnings. Conversely, without prioritizing and letting go, we drown in chaos. You may have a house full of belongings, a packed schedule, a long list of friends, but when your mind has no room to breathe, all of it is just a burden. True order does not come from adding more, but from subtracting. Try writing down everything you are holding: work, relationships, habits, possessions, beliefs. Then ask, does this still bring me closer to my true self? If not, dare to let go. At first, it may be hard, even painful, but over time, you will feel lighter. In that simplicity, you regain clarity, knowing what you need, what you want, and what deserves your full energy. This selective choosing creates deep order, bringing us closer to the self, where we are no longer pulled apart by excess, but live neatly, freely, and true to our essence. Number 6. Creating harmony between inside and outside. Once we have learned to prioritize and let go, we realize life not only needs inner simplicity, but also outer harmony. If the mind is arranged, but the surrounding environment is messy, unease will soon return. That is why the next step in forcing yourself to arrange life is creating harmony between the inside and the outside. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart." Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. The outer world is a mirror of the inner world, and vice versa. We cannot maintain a calm soul in a cluttered room, nor truly live peacefully if work, schedules, or relationships remain chaotic. Harmony only appears when both sides move together, supporting each other. Imagine the soul as a house, and the outer life as the surrounding garden. If the house is tidy but the garden overgrown, balance is hard to sustain. Conversely, if the garden is neat but the house is messy, we still feel empty. Only when both inside In practice, creating harmony can start with the smallest things. Clear your desk before a new day. Create a corner in your house just for rest, reading, or meditation. Plan a weekend with no parties, no social media, only for family or yourself. These seemingly small actions are how we let inner order merge with outer order. Jung emphasized that unity is not eliminating conflicts, but the ability to reconcile them. When inside and outside harmonize, we no longer feel like living two lives, one for the world, one for ourselves. We can be present with wholeness, and this wholeness radiates peace, attraction, and creativity. Others may not know why, but they will sense it. Around us, they feel a pleasant energy, not because we try to show it, but because both inside and outside resonate with one rhythm. Therefore, forcing yourself to arrange life is not only inner work, but also the art of establishing harmony between inner and outer worlds. When inside and outside move together, we can walk the journey of living in unity, lightness, and creativity. If you feel these reflections help you see more clearly how to create harmony between inside and outside, click like to spread this message. For it is not only motivation for us to keep bringing meaningful content, but also a way for you to plant a seed of peace for the community, where many are also seeking arrangement and balance in life. Number 7. Living toward the self, order leading to wholeness. However, harmony between inside and outside is only a stepping stone. The deeper destination of the journey of forcing yourself to arrange life is not a tidy room, a reasonable schedule, or a less restless mind. All of those only pave the way for the greater goal, returning to the self, the center of wholeness. Carl Jung believed the self is not just the everyday I, but the intersection of conscious and unconscious, light and shadow, the accepted and the denied. Living toward the self is not a journey of making yourself better by some standard, but the process of returning to the deepest essence. Then order is no longer an imposed structure from outside, but a natural flow from within, where choices, actions, and thoughts merge into one unified stream. You can imagine the self as an inner compass. Without connecting to the self, we are like people walking in the forest without a compass, easily swayed by every turn, praise, expectations, fears, or instant desires. We may chase jobs only for recognition, or cling to relationships only out of fear of loneliness. But when touching the self, we know the true direction. Then order forms naturally, without force or reminder. In reality, some people appear very orderly, stable jobs, tidy homes, strict schedules. Yet deep inside, they carry a vague emptiness, an unnamed unease. They seem to live an arranged life for others to see, not for themselves. That is a sign order has stopped at the surface, not reached the self. Conversely, when someone lives from the self, you feel the difference. Calm amid turbulence, without display, radiating energy that makes others feel safe, just by their presence. I once met a woman in her 30s who lived very orderly, tight schedules, tidy house, everything in place. Yet she felt empty, as if missing a piece. In therapy, she realized she had been arranging only to control and prove, never from her true essence. She began to listen within, choosing work for passion, not reputation, giving time to family out of love, not duty. From then, life's order was no longer forced but a natural rhythm. For the first time she felt wholeness, not outward neatness, but deep peace from the self. The self is not a one-time destination, but a continuous journey of reconciliation. Each time we face the shadow, remove persona, practice discipline, let go of excess, or create harmony, we move closer to the self. And the closer to the self, the less conflict, less division, replaced by unity. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." When living toward the self, arranging is no longer just to reduce chaos, but to open the path back to essence, where order and freedom unite, where we no longer strain to exist, but can live lightly, naturally, and wholly. And when a person lives from the self, they radiate an indescribable energy, not the noise of display, but a quiet strength. Others may not know why, but they feel safe, accepted, and inspired in their presence. That is the deepest order, not in schedules or tidy rooms, but in presence itself. The important thing is, this journey never ends. There will be times we stray, fall into chaos, pulled by external calls. But instead of seeing it as failure, we can take it as a reminder to return to the self. Each return, we grow stronger, more mature, more unified. Forcing yourself to arrange life is not to become a perfectly neat machine, but to gradually peel away the false layers, moving closer to the self. That is where we no longer strain to be loved, no longer chase to prove worth, but simply exist as ourselves, and that itself is the source wondered why you are drawn to someone so irresistibly that you cannot explain it, even when your reason knows that the relationship might hurt you? Or why the feeling of familiarity appears right from the very first meeting, as if you and that person had belonged to each other for a very long time? Those moments often make us believe in destiny, but under the lens of Carl Jung's philosophy, the truth is different. What you are seeing is not really them, but yourself, reflected through them. Love, in its most intense and irresistible form, is often the place where the unconscious speaks most loudly. It not only pulls you towards someone, but also forces you to face both the light and the shadow within, memories, beliefs, dormant wounds. If you do not recognize this mechanism, it is easy to mistake violent emotional stirrings for true love, only to repeat the familiar cycle of hurt, anticipation, hope, and disappointment. In this video, we will journey into Carl Jung's mirror, where every emotion and attraction hides a message. You will see why you are drawn in, how to distinguish true resonance from mere unconscious reflection, and how to transform it so you can love from a place of wholeness, freedom, and greater sustainability. This is not only a story about love, but also a story about yourself. Number 1. Carl Jung's mirror law, the framework for understanding love and attraction. There are moments in life when you meet a stranger yet feel as though you have known them forever. Just one glance meeting, one fleeting smile, and your body suddenly reacts as if your soul had just found a missing piece. Many call this destiny, the one and only that the universe has sent. But under Jung's light, the explanation is different. You are not really seeing them. You are seeing yourself, reflected through them. Jung called this the mirror law, the principle that every person and situation that appears in our life reflects a part within, both the light meaning potential and beautiful qualities, and the shadow, meaning wounds, fears, and limiting beliefs. In love, this mirror becomes sharper than anywhere else. Attraction, desire, and strong emotions often make us believe that everything revolves around the other person. But in reality, it is the deep part of ourselves speaking. From childhood, experiences, whether being loved or abandoned, recognized or ignored, leave imprints in the unconscious. Those imprints become emotional templates, and the unconscious, like a wanderer searching for home, is always drawn to what is familiar, whether good or bad. So when you meet someone whose energy or behavior resembles your earliest relationships, an invisible string immediately vibrates. What we call an unexplainable closeness is, in fact, an old wound finding a chance to be touched. The problem is, the unconscious does not distinguish what is good for us. It only seeks the familiar. If you once linked love with waiting, neglect, or having to strive to be loved, then even if those things once hurt you, you are still easily pulled in. Familiarity is so strong it overrides reason, making those involved confuse the excitement of dopamine and adrenaline with love. But the mirror does not only reflect what hurts us, it also reflects the light, the qualities you long to fully embody, but have not dared to. You may admire someone's confidence or serenity, can draw us in so irresistibly that reason is left behind. We need to delve into a subtle mechanism of the mind. The unconscious always seeks what is familiar, whether healing light or wounding darkness, something we will explore further in the next section. Number 2. Why are we so intensely drawn in? The unconscious seeks familiarity. Imagine walking through a strange city where all the sounds are unfamiliar. Suddenly, from a roadside cafe comes a familiar melody. You stop immediately, not because it is the best music, but because it evokes deep memories, a small room where you grew up, or an autumn afternoon long ago. You are pulled not by the quality of the music, but by the feeling of already known. In love, attraction operates the same way. Often it does not come from what is best for us, but from the familiarity engraved in the unconscious. If you meet someone who carries the same emotional frequency as past experiences, the unconscious immediately reacts like an alarm bell. I know this feeling. Your heart races, your body stirs, your mind is instantly captivated. You call it strange attraction, or as if we've met before. But in reality, it is the past returning in a new face. As Jung said, what you resist persists. What you try to avoid or have not healed will keep repeating, hiding in new forms to force you to confront it. This match is so powerful that we do not realize we are being led. A girl who grew up with a distant father who only cared when she achieved something will learn that love equals having to strive for recognition. As an adult, she is easily drawn to a talented but cold man. Each smile or moment of care from him brings a surge of excitement, not because this is healthy love, but because the unconscious is replaying the old script. If I am good enough, I will be loved. A boy who grew up with a mother who often criticized will be drawn to sophisticated but demanding women. Their remarks cause him both pain and addiction, because that is the language of love he knew as a child. These scripts are not random. The unconscious is like a magnetized compass. The needle always points to the familiar direction, whether or not that path leads to safety. Ironically, peaceful, stable relationships can feel lacking fire. Not because love is lacking, but because the body and mind are not used to peace. Like someone who has lived by the railway for years, rumbling trains are the normal background, while silence makes them restless. If you are used to highs and lows of anxiety and hope, a drama-free relationship can make you think you feel nothing, but in reality, it only lacks the chaos you once mistook as normal. Because of this mechanism, many leave healthy relationships to chase the thrill of volatile ones. They mistake a racing heartbeat for a sign of deep love, when in fact, it is merely adrenaline from insecurity. The unconscious does not distinguish safety from harm. It only seeks the familiar. That is why even after much pain from a certain type of relationship, we can still be drawn to the same energy, just with a different face. Recognizing this mechanism is the first step to escaping the loop. When you understand that attraction is not always a compass to happiness, you begin to observe yourself. What type of people you are drawn to, what feelings it evokes, and whether it comes from healthy resonance or just a replay of old scripts. At first, staying in a safe relationship may feel strange, even empty, but if you are patient, you will realize that peace has its own rhythm, and once you grow used to it, you no longer seek storms just to feel alive. When you no longer let the unconscious steer, attraction becomes different. You choose to bond because of true resonance, not because it evokes the old. And then you are with someone not because they resemble a figure from the past, but because the two of you are writing a new story together. Have you ever experienced being so drawn to someone that reason was left behind? Share your story or feelings in the comments. Perhaps your experience will shed light on someone else's journey. Number 3. The confusions that make us misname emotions as love. Understanding the unconscious mechanism of seeking the familiar is only the beginning. What makes the journey trickier is that many times those overwhelming, breath-stealing emotions are not truly love, but signals deceiving us. This is when we must honestly examine the most common confusions, the mirrors that make us mislabel emotions. There are loves that begin like a sudden spark igniting the heart, blazing so fiercely that you believe it must be destined love. Just one late-night conversation, one lingering glance, or one fleeting touch is enough to feel electricity run through your body. But if you pause and look under Jung's light, you may realize that what you are feeling may not be love at all, but only a part of you being reflected. Without this awareness, people easily mislabel feelings, and 3 common confusions become traps that keep us clinging to unhealthy relationships. Intense passion can make us believe we have found someone impossibly compatible. Every message, every casual word, every touch becomes a strong Anxiety in love works the same. It makes you cling to someone not from trust, but from fear and lack, which suffocates love. Another confusion, subtle and dangerous, mistaking attachment for true connection. Attachment is often just habit, avoidance of emptiness. Connection is resonance, where both remain independent selves, yet choose to stay. I once heard from an audience member about a couple who had been together for 7 years. When the girl had the chance to study abroad, the boy opposed it not from care, but from fear of change. And she, fearing to lose him, gave up the opportunity. Years later, she realized she had shrunk herself to fit the relationship. What they had preserved all that time was not love, but fear of facing emptiness alone. Like two people standing on an old bridge, afraid to let go lest it collapse, yet knowing staying there meant going nowhere. These confusions happen often when we stand before our mirror. The mirror reflects not only the beautiful parts we love, but also the wounds we try to hide. The one who excites you may be evoking the first memory of feeling valued. The one who makes you anxious may be striking your old fear of abandonment. The one you cling to may be reflecting the way you once clung to a relationship just to avoid emptiness. The unconscious recognizes these not by reason, but by feeling. And when the familiar appears in new form, you easily believe it is destiny, when in truth, you are meeting yourself through them. The important point is, the unconscious does not distinguish what is healthy. It only seeks the familiar. And that is why often what is familiar is also what once hurt you. That is why we leave one damaging relationship only to step into another with the same script, just new actors. What you call destiny may simply be an unfinished cycle. Understanding these three confusions does not mean doubting every feeling, but rather asking, is what I feel really love, or just the unconscious reacting to the mirror? Intensity can make your heart tremble, but does not guarantee endurance. Anxiety can make you think you love deeply, but it is often only fear of being left. Attachment can keep someone near, but if there is no freedom and resonance, it is only staying out of fear. Seeing these, you step out of the unconscious swirl into the stance of the observer. And in that stance you realize, often, what makes you unable to look away from someone is not that they are your person, but that they give you the rare chance to see yourself more clearly. They may stay, they may go, but either way, if you listen to that mirror, you will walk away changed, not driven by old unconscious scripts, but beginning to choose relationships with awareness and true value. Number 4. How to recognize it is the mirror, not the destined one. Once you have seen the confusions that make you mislabel emotions as love, the next question is always, how do I know whether this is a true connection or just a mirror reflecting a part within me? Because when you are caught in the whirlwind of strong emotions, reason is often powerless against feeling. Every sign of instability is blurred by hope, and you may easily see repeated patterns as destiny's challenge instead of an old cycle. Jung would say that this distinction does not begin with observing the other person, but with observing yourself when you are with them. The mirror shows itself not only through the behavior of others, but through your own reactions. One of the clearest signs is when your emotions fluctuate wildly, and peace rarely lasts. You may spend a wonderful evening with them, feeling secure and happy, but just one delayed reply, one distracted glance, or one careless word, and your mood plummets. Your feelings are like a small boat tossed endlessly by waves, never finding calm water. This usually happens when the other person touches unhealed places within you. One casual remark becomes proof of the deep fear that you are not good enough or about to be abandoned. Peace in this context is like a fleeting guest, never staying long because your unconscious is still scanning for signals to confirm its old beliefs. Another sign is constant self-doubt when around them. You start comparing yourself to others, questioning whether you are intelligent enough, attractive enough, interesting enough to keep them. And when you cannot find a reassuring answer, you try to compensate by doing more, sacrificing more. But instead of feeling more loved, you feel more drained. This does not necessarily mean the other is intentionally hurting you. Sometimes they are simply living as they are, but their presence inadvertently becomes the mirror, reflecting your unexamined shadows about self-worth. You can also recognize the mirror when you begin sacrificing your boundaries and personal needs just to maintain the relationship. Things that once mattered, your alone time, your hobbies, your long-term goals, gradually fall to the side. You say, "It's fine," when it is not. You stay silent when you should speak. You agree to things against your true desires just to avoid conflict. At that point, the mirror is reflecting how you once abandoned yourself for Why does this thing in them trigger me so much? Do I carry this trait within me as well? Have I ever felt this way before, and under what circumstances? These questions shift the focus from analyzing them to illuminating yourself. And as you answer, you see more clearly that often what you are facing is not their essence, but your own, projected outward, as Jung once said. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Seeing the mirror does not mean you must immediately leave the relationship. Sometimes that reflection can actually be the catalyst for deep healing if both people are aware and willing to change. But the important thing is, once you see it clearly, you are no longer unconsciously led by old stories. You can choose to stay to build something new, not to resolve an old wound with a new face. And if you choose to leave, it is not escape, but a conscious step to protect the healthiest part of yourself. When you are clear enough to see the mirror, you are also clear enough to stand before it without being swallowed by the reflection. You can smile, realizing that maybe this person is not yours, as you once thought, but they are still an important part of your journey, because through them, you have seen yourself more clearly than ever. And once you have seen clearly, you know that the path ahead, with or without them, will be different. Less illusion, fewer cycles, more choice and peace. If someone has ever triggered you in an unusually strong way, and you later realized it was not about them, but about something within you speaking up, leave this phrase as a reminder. It was the wound in me speaking. Number 5. Role shift from victim to creator of life. Once you recognize the mirror and the parts of yourself projected outward, you may reach a silent crossroads. Continue repeating familiar cycles, blaming circumstances, and waiting for someone to change your life or shift into a different role, from victim to creator of life. This is not denial of pain, but a change of anchor, from letting the outer world dictate your feelings to taking responsibility and choosing how you want to live. As Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." The choice begins when you realize that the power to shape your story has always been in your own hands, not anyone else's. This reminds me of Elizabeth Gilbert's journey in Eat, Pray, Love. At the beginning, Elizabeth was in a lifeless marriage and a job that made her feel like she was playing a role every day. She believed she was unlucky in love, that her misfortunes were fate. But when she chose to step out, traveling through Italy, India, and Bali, she shifted her perspective. From, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What does this reflect in me? And what do I want to do with it?" The shift did not happen in a moment, but through many days of sitting in silence, naming feelings, facing fears, and learning to give herself what she once waited for others to give. The shift begins when you dare to name the emotions and wounds being triggered. When ignored, you feel hurt. When criticized, you feel small. When left, you feel worthless. Instead of rushing into action to keep them or prove yourself, you pause, breathe deeply, and admit, "This is the fear of abandonment speaking," or "This is the memory of rejection." Naming is like turning on the light in a dark room. The darkness does not vanish immediately, but you begin to see what is there. Then you review repeating patterns across past relationships. Perhaps you are always drawn to those unwilling to commit, and the endings are always the same. Or you notice you often carry most of the emotional responsibility, neglecting your own needs. Seeing the pattern is not for self-blame, but to understand that if the unconscious keeps following the old map, you will always arrive at the same place. From this awareness, you start setting boundaries, accepting that if keeping a relationship means abandoning your core values, then letting it go hurts less than losing yourself. This is hard, but like Elizabeth, when you say no to what no longer fits, you open the door for what you truly desire. In a Jungian therapy session, someone shared that for years they always yielded in love, agreeing to places they disliked, staying silent about what hurt them, just to keep the relationship from breaking. But in return, they felt further from themselves. When they realized love cannot compensate for losing themselves, they began changing, speaking up when they disagreed, saying no when uncomfortable. Though difficult at first, the sense of self-respect helped them break the old cycle and start a healthier way of loving. Once you take responsibility for your experiences, you need daily practices, like rituals, to nurture the new awareness. Start with a trigger journal. Write down when you feel abandoned, ignored, or judged. Over time, you will see repeated patterns, and awareness alone prevents being swept away. Alongside, practice self-soothing. When emotions rise, pause, place a hand on your chest and whisper, "I am safe," to return your nervous system to balance. Another important step is reparenting, becoming the parent your inner child once needed. If you have found a healthy connection, how do you nurture it? Because love from wholeness is not merely meeting the right person, but a journey two people choose every day. At this stage, the difference between love from lack and love from wholeness becomes clear. Love from lack often begins like a strong wave, expecting the other to fill every void, and gradually turning that expectation into a burden. In contrast, love from wholeness starts from two people who already know how to stand alone, loving to share abundance. Here, peace coexists with attraction. You feel safe with them and still excited to see them after a long day, like sitting by a campfire that is warm and alive, not blazing, then dying out, nor cold. One visible sign is peace alongside attraction. No longer excitement from fear of losing, but eagerness to understand and walk further together without clinging. Another sign, freedom to express feelings without fear of judgment. You can say, "Today I need space," or "I am sad about that," without being labeled weak or distant. Honesty is valued more than image. A third sign, respect for personal boundaries. We does not mean I disappear. Each still has time for friends, hobbies and projects, seeing them as nourishment for the relationship. And when conflict arises, as it inevitably will, the two choose dialogue instead of punishment. No cold wars, no silent control. After anger, both know how to return, soften their voices, look into core needs, and seek solutions together. A clear example is David and Victoria Beckham. Under media pressure and personal challenges, they maintained the principle, never go to bed angry. Resolve conflicts before sleeping, so negative feelings do not accumulate. Despite busy lives, they sustain shared activities, attending events, caring for family, supporting each other's projects. This is treating love as an active commitment, not letting it run on inertia. To keep love healthy and lasting, you need habits like tending a garden. First is regular emotional check-ins, not waiting for crises. Many relationships break because small distances pile up. Spending 10 to 15 minutes weekly asking, "How was your week? Is there something we should do differently?" Both detects issues early and makes the other feel heard. Next is a conflict rule to avoid escalation. Agree to pause when too heated. Return when calm. Avoid sweeping statements like, "You always," "You never." A real-life example. A young couple run in a cafe often argued under financial and customer pressure. They set a 10-minute rule. When tense, each left the shared space, doing something simple like making tea, watering plants, or walking, then returned. After weeks, arguments dropped sharply. 10 minutes, okay, became a loving signal, not retreat. They expanded it at home. Before dinner, a 10-minute pause without phones, just breathing and resetting. This rhythm made conversations smoother, richer, less critical. Also, maintain shared activities that nourish connection. They need not be grand. A homemade meal, a book read together, a slow evening walk are enough. What matters is full presence, turning off devices, setting aside work. Such simple moments prevent love from being consumed by busyness and forgetting the original reason for being together. Challenges remain, of course, the risk of slipping back into old patterns under pressure. People easily revert to familiar reactions, silence, defensiveness, clinging. This is when awareness and new habits act as a fence, recognizing when you are reacting from old wounds, pausing, regulating breath, naming feelings, then continuing dialogue. The difference between mature love and unconscious love lies here, not in never having old reactions, but in recognizing and choosing a new response. From Jung's view, when you love from wholeness, two people no longer seek each other as medicine, but stand side by side like two parallel mirrors, illuminating and expanding each other. It wasn't your person, it was your mirror. Now becomes not a warning of cycles, but a gentle reminder. The other still reflects you, but it is the broader, better version of you that you are becoming. You love not because they complete you, but because they make you want to live more fully in your own life. In the end, lasting love is a conscious choice. Not the salvation of two broken souls, but the resonance of two whole ones still choosing to walk together. Then each day is no longer a struggle to keep each other, but an opportunity to create something new. And if one day the shared journey ends, you can part in gratitude, knowing you respected each other and lived a worthy chapter together. So, in a truly healthy relationship, how much is emotion and how much is conscious choice? Guess your own ratio and leave it in the comments. Let's see how many are entering love with awakened hearts, not just emotions. Perhaps your number will illuminate the way you are loving. When you are awake enough to see the mirror before you and choose a different response, that is not only proof you understand Jung's mirror mechanism, but evidence you are living from a more active, deeper place. Each time you recognize and